Welcome to another episode of No Talking During the Movies. I am your host, Stephen Austin.
I am the co-host of your whole soul.
Of your what was that?
I don't know. I don't know. That was worth a shot.
Tank is my Marvel movie buddy, and we watch them together all the time. And I'm the guy who always leans over and says, "Fun fact about this," and he punches me every time. But
You
it's
are
fine.
that guy. But I love that guy because I like to
Hey!
know stuff.
Yeah, and I like to tell people stuff so I can feel superior.
That tracks.
Let that hang there for a bit. Why do you think I have a movie podcast? So the question today, Tank, because we're finally back in the MCU. I mean, we've really, after the last week and the last two episodes, it didn't feel like we were back. But after today's episode of WandaVision, it feels like we're a little bit more back in the MCU. And it got me really excited. So, Tank, is there a specific MCU character that you would like to see more of, either in film or a TV show? What would you like to see?
I feel like the easy answer is Punisher because that makes
Sure.
a lot of sense because he's awesome. But my real answer is M'Baku from
M'Baku.
Black Panther. M'Baku, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
M'Baku.
Love him.
I haven't seen enough of him so much to the point that I don't even know his name. M'Baku, Winston Duke, because he's one of my favorite actors working right now.
He's the best.
And just a badass character. I would like to see more of him.
That is a great answer. I think I'm super excited for like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men to be introduced, but they're not in the MCU yet, so I can't say them. So I think my answer would be Deadpool because he will be in the MCU. And they confirmed that Deadpool 3 will be part of the MCU and it will be rated R.
There's absolutely no way you could do a Deadpool movie other than rated R.
I completely agree. So that is my answer. I'm super excited to see more from Deadpool. Super excited to see how they bring him into the MCU and make it make sense because that's all kinds of crazy. For good reason.
Picture Deadpool and Ant-Man together. That would be
my god, like
so
brilliant.
much fun.
Ryan Reynolds and Paul Rudd. That's all I need. So I know we're about a month past Christmas, but I thought I would, for the audio listeners, this is going to be weird, but I'm undressing. I just wanted to show off the Christmas present that Tank got me.
Hey, right.
It says, "We are Sex Bomb," and it's a Scott Pilgrim t-shirt that Tank got me for Christmas. And I just wanted to show that off because Tank knows that Scott Pilgrim is my favorite movie.
You've been playing that video game too, huh?
I have. They re-released the Scott Pilgrim game onto the new consoles, and that really excited me because I played the hell out of that. So
nice.
Love to get back into the Scott Pilgrim realm. But let's start talking about some of our trailers. I want to go right into the one that left less to the imagination, which is Young Rock, a new TV show featuring the life and times of a young Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. What did you think of this short trailer teaser for TV?
Here's the thing. It's interesting to me because they did this with young Sheldon, which I did watch for a moment.
Right.
But it's kind of like there's a lot of Letterkenny. You watch Letterkenny at all?
I don't think so, but what I wanted to take more from it personally was more of like an everybody hates Chris vibe.
Yeah, that's all kind of the same thing.
Right. Okay.
Where and my point is like with Letterkenny, a little goes a long way.
Gotcha.
After a while, it's just the same thing. You know what I mean? They're just kind of doing the same thing, and that's kind of what it was with Young Sheldon, and that's kind of the sense I get from this. Now, the trailer, I'm a cynical person by nature, typically, especially when it comes to entertainment, but I feel like I would enjoy this for a minute, and then I would be okay. The jokes have gotten stale. Yeah. This is the same thing over and over. So
honestly, I don't expect much from it. However, on terms of like more intrigue, I would say the whole wrestling aspect with his father is the most interesting thing about the show.
The casting looks like it was really well done.
Yeah, I agree. The cast, it looks like they really went out of their way to make this look as it's supposed to, which I'm really happy about that. So
I mean, just the idea of it's kind of interesting. It's a weird thing when a guy is still active, still incredibly active in the entertainment industry,
And they're making
and
like a bio TV show about him.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, that's really wild. So, um,
That was an
it's kind of
argument. That was an argument I heard from somebody I used to know, where it was like when Bohemian Rhapsody came out, they were like, "Well, that's fine because Freddie Mercury, sorry, Freddie Mercury has passed. He's been dead for a long time." But then when Rocket Man was coming out, they were like, "But Elton John is still alive. Why would they do this?" And I'm like, he's a legend in the music industry, so I think that's fine. But
well,
rock
see,
is
those
completely
are two.
different.
You're talking apples and oranges. The Rock
Right.
is not 75. You know what I
No,
mean?
and the
Elton John's
rock's
wrapping it up,
yes.
and Elton John has put behind a catalog of dozens of #1 songs, and I mean, like, uh, just because somebody's still alive doesn't mean you can't biography them.
Sure,
You know
and
what
I'm
I
not
mean?
saying that's what you were saying with Young Rock. However, I just thought of that because it's like you don't have to be like dead or whatever to get a biopic about you.
It's like being in the Rock. It's like being in the Hall of Fame when you're still working on your second album. I feel like, kind of thing.
Yeah, I get that. I get that a lot because we're gonna
Yeah,
see a lot more of The Rock for
absolutely, for the
years
next
and
30
years and
years.
years and years. Yeah, totally.
He's gonna be the Rock grandpa. You know what
I
I mean? Like you.
I can't wait for his inevitable like I'm done doing movies and then like 10 years later he's going to do a movie and all of us are going to be like, oh, The Rock's back. You know that's going to happen with him. You know
Sure.
it. You know it. All right, so the next movie I wanted to talk about was this trailer called Boogie. What'd you think of this?
Looks good. Interesting character study. Like,
Mhm.
it's not a topic you think of very often. To be quite honest with you,
No.
it's looks entertaining. Looks
Mhm.
like some rock solid performances from what I saw in the trailer. I'm into it.
I agree. And I'm not much of a sports guy, so I wanted to ask you, does this look like what we could see for I know it's a character study, it really is. However, there's a lot of basketball in the movie. It looks like that's going to be the main center point of most of the drama, is based around him playing basketball. So my question is, does this look like what the future of like sports movies could be for you?
I mean it's actually kind of the current climate of sports movies is
Mm-hmm.
all about the first African American team or player to do
Sure.
something, or but this is different. This is taking it from a different angle because it's from the Asian American
Yes.
perspective, which it's an Asian kid who I think he's Chinese, I
I
believe.
think
I don't
he's
want to.
Chinese. I
I don't.
read the
I
description and I believe it said Chinese.
so it's about a Chinese kid who is a really good basketball player,
Right.
and typically in America, now in China, basketball is huge.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you know this, but
I did
basketball is
know that.
huge in China, and so much to the point where the NBA I think makes as much money from China as they do from America,
That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
because just because of the size of China.
Sure.
So they placate to China, which a lot of people give them guff for because of China's human rights violations and
Sure.
things like that.
Sure.
But that's a whole nother podcast.
That's
But
a whole nother
um,
can of worms.
but there are very few representations of Asian people in the professional or even amateur basketball ranks.
Right.
So this movie's all about a kid who wants to be that guy. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like
And
there's
I was going to say, speaking of representation, I mean, there's not a lot of Asian American or just Asian in general representation in like modern American films. We're starting to see an upswing on that. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is representation in a new way being done, but in a sports movie. So that's cool. Like, and the moment I watched the trailer, I said, this movie feels like it's going to be important to a lot of people, which makes me happy.
and I think also it's going to speak to a lot of people. I got shades of Gran Torino from it,
Oh, okay. I kind of get
uh,
what you mean.
because
Where
the
it's
grittiness and
sure.
because of the main characters struggle with their American identity and their Asian identity.
Right.
They were hung in Gran Torino, but there wasn't there was a difference. So
Sure, it's also dealing with what it means to be an American citizen, but also keep your traditions alive and well because it's very important. And even that scene in the trailer when it was like, he had to apologize and he kind of gets down for an honorable apology, and then all of them got uncomfortable,
mhm.
and I'm like, well, he's doing what he was taught to do.
Yeah, that's it's all about the different cultures
Right.
and it's also an interesting thing because uh, basketball, one of the only truly American sports,
Hmm.
dominated by African Americans, and this guy going into that world, and then going into a world of where the people who dominate it are oppressed in society,
Right.
and you know the two cultures, the way they mix. It's going to be really interesting.
I think so too.
I'm really excited because I like a good basketball. You can't go wrong with a good basketball flick. Number one, these the actors look like they do a great job. Really excited about that.
Yeah, the
And
trailer showed a lot of
you know
good performances.
it has a real vibe, not like you think of something like Save the Last Dance where it was like it all felt kind of forced,
Well,
and silly.
the other thing is, and not just with like sports movies, but I would also say like, and this just might be from our point of view because we're, like you said, we're very cynical, but there's a lot of times that you watch a trailer and you just go, "Oh, I see what they're doing." But with this, it actually like I got excited because it looked like something new. It looks like something different. It looks like good performances. It has everything going for it. And the fact of the matter is, I didn't see it on any like social media getting spread around or anything. I had to find this the same way that you had to find these other two movies that we're going to talk about, which upsets me because I feel like this should be, more around. People should be talking about this movie.
I agree, and it's got I think it's got a lot of potential, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. All right, so I'll let you choose because these are the two trailers you brought to the table. Which one would you like to talk about first?
Let's go boss level next,
Okay,
just
cool.
because
It's so
fir-
insane.
it's first of all
Both of the
what
movies are insane, but
here's what it is. It's Groundhog Day meets Free Guy,
yes,
and
sort of.
even though we haven't seen Free Guy,
I'm getting high levels of Edge of Tomorrow.
oh, that's that Tom Cruise movie.
Did you ever see that one?
Never saw it.
Oh my god, Tank!
Is it good?
Edge of Tomorrow is your movie.
Oh, okay. I'll check
Like,
it out then.
let me tell you, like one of the best sci-fi movies of like the modern age.
Really?
I'm not
Okay.
even kidding you. That was Groundhog Day. Like that was the first time. If I can remember correctly, that was the first time somebody was like, "Hey, let's just do Groundhog Day and like do a twist on it." And then Happy Death Day happened, Palm Springs, like Edge of Tomorrow was like,
Oh,
"Hey,
I forgot
Groundhog
about Palm Springs, but that was a
Springs."
great movie.
Yeah,
Same thing. Yeah.
but like Edge of Tomorrow was the movie that was like, "Hey, let's make Groundhog Day cool again," and they did. It's so good.
Well, and
I want you to see this.
this movie does have that boss level is, and that it equates to is like when you play the final level of like Grand Theft Auto,
Sure.
where the guy's going to be shooting you from,
Yeah.
you know where the cars are going to come from, and that's what this movie kind of reminds me of. And it seems like we've forgiven Mel Gibson, so
It
seems
really
like
does. He's shown up in a lot more stuff. Did you ever
yeah.
actually see Kill the Fat Man? Was that
I
the name
never
of the
saw
movie?
it, but it looked good.
It did look good, mainly because not because of Mel Gibson, even though I'm sure he did a great job in that movie, but really it was because of Walton Goggins.
Oh yeah,
I just
yeah.
like seeing him and everything.
You can't get enough of him.
But no, this looks great. I'm trying to remember the name of the actor. I should probably look it up. But the main guy who played
Frank Grillo.
Frank Grillo. Yes, that's right. And he was Crossbones in the MCU. He was Captain America's soldier buddy turned bad guy. I'm trying to remember what else he's in. But he looks
He was in the second Purge.
okay. Second Purge.
He was kind of the enforcer, savior guy in that one.
Yeah. I remember that.
He was in Warrior. He was the trainer in Warrior.
He's gonna be on an upswing now too, huh?
It's got to be. I mean, like he's a great action guy. It seems like 30 years ago this guy would have been a huge star.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. He does seem a little bit older for it now, but the problem is like he's like this is a lead role in this movie, Boss Level. Like this is a lead role for him, and he kind of looks like he's killing it.
Well, but action movies nowadays are, you get Jennifer Lawrence as the as the protagonist.
Sure,
so,
but I would say that not every buff guy. Like, all right, I might make a controversial opinion.
Oh no.
I don't think Jason Statham is a good actor. But he does action right. He does action right. But this movie, Frank Grillo, he does not portray that I'm just an action star. He portrays that he could actually, like, act in the movie. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
sorry for the controversial opinion. I don't think I've ever seen a Jason Statham movie that really made me go, like, that was a wonderful performance. Like, I like the movie Cranked. Cranked Up? What was it?
Yeah, Cranked.
I like that movie.
I think there's two of those. I think there was two of those. Sir, you've never obviously seen Homeland. Homefront.
I was gonna say Homeland is something else.
You've obviously never seen Homefront.
I guess I have not.
Written by the genius Sylvester Stallone, starring our man Jason Statham.
Okay.
Delivers a smoldering performance.
Smoldering. Sir. That is the only word I would describe Jason Statham.
Look, here's my thing. When it comes to action movies, all I have to believe is that person could be tough.
Okay,
that's the only thing that they have to. That's my main problem with a lot of action movies today, is that the only thing that you have to convince me of when I personally watch an action movie is that person could win in a fight, and I don't get, like, when I look at, I saw. They're doing The Equalizer, which was a show in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then they redid the movies in the 2000s starring Denzel Washington.
Yes, I remember those movies.
And now they're redoing the TV show on CBS starring Queen Latifah. Because when you need justice, call a 60-year-old woman. That's...
Okay, well, here's my question, because this is just, now I'm getting more on terms of, like, people who really show off that they are tough. Did you see the movie Atomic Blonde?
I did not.
Oh, okay, so this movie...
It's Charlize Theron?
Charlize Theron. This movie is not great. However, they essentially made it to be female John Wick. That's essentially was their goal. Charlize can throw a punch and she can take a hit. Like, you watch any of the behind the scenes stuff, she is like destroying these guys, like on practice mats and then in the field. Like, oh my God, like she is the next like big female action star because she can do it and it's incredible to watch.
Well, and it's not a man-woman thing.
No, of
because
course not.
Frankly, the best punch I've ever seen on the internet or in person was a woman hitting another woman. It was the at the. Have you? I don't know if you've seen this video, but it's at the riots. It was a security guard holding a phone in the middle of the crowd, and then some woman reaches over and knocks her phone out of her hand, and then the security guard just turns on her and plants a perfect jab on her.
Yeah, I did see that.
It was perfect. Perfect form, perfect placement, everything.
It's that.
So
it's
not a man-woman thing. It's and then the woman's daughter turned her in. It's not that. It's not the man. It's not a man-woman thing.
Course not.
It is. I don't know what it is, but somebody like Jason Statham has that. I'm trying to think. So we were talking about Run, Fight, Hide. Run, Hide, Fight. This new movie coming up.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah. And that's like something where I buy it. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree. Yes.
So so it's not about that. It's just there's just something about Jason Statham because he's an actual martial artist.
Sure. And here's the thing. If your bar for action movies to believe the performances that the actor is tough, then yeah, that works.
Not that the actor is tough, that the character.
That the character is tough. Jason Statham portrays tough. That's no problem. Like, that's not my issue with him. But we should not keep talking about Jason Statham.
I think we just I think we're just talking about two different types of movies.
I think we are too.
Because I like a dumb like I'm a sucker for a dumb action movie.
The Expendables, you have a poster of it in your room. Like,
let's not
signed
get
by
carried
all
away.
of the actors and Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though he wasn't in the sequel. He wasn't in the first one.
Let's not get carried away. But yes, I do watch nonsense like that. I watched Rambo: Last Blood now, and it was terrible and so bad. But I still watched it.
Could you imagine if somebody went up to Arnold Schwarzenegger and he's at like a signing or something and they're like, "Oh my God, I loved you." And he's like, "Yes, I know, and Terminator, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, No, Expendables 2.
No, in The Last Stand.
Do you think he'd be offended?
No, in your press conference about the budget of California.
No, in Twins.
Twins was great.
Twins actually is good.
Don't disparage Twins.
I'm not disparaging Twins.
Sir.
It's just weird if somebody walked up and said, "This is my favorite movie I've seen you in."
I don't think that would be that weird.
How? He's the Terminator.
Whatever.
All right, whatever. But Boss Level looks great. It looks fun. Groundhog Day meets action movie. It's essentially Edge of Tomorrow, but more video gamey. It looks awesome. I think it looks like a lot of fun. It's my most excited trailer I think we're talking about today.
Nice.
Next one is another one you sent. Breaking news in Yuba County. This makes me think of Southern Fargo.
Very much so. Burn After Reading. That whole ensemble cast of multiple level intrigue kind of deal. Awkwafina's in it, and Awkwafina is honestly, I think, one of the biggest stars on the rise.
She's on a huge upswing.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think she's like a big star of the future because she's not only good as an actress and things like that, but she's also like a really creative.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's like a writer, and she had her own show, and she's a comedian, and she does music. So her ceiling is pretty much limitless. So she's in this. I mean, just an absolute who's who.
Yeah, for real.
In this movie.
Oh, what was I gonna say? You mentioned Burn After Reading, and then I got distracted because I was gonna be like, "Do you like that movie? Do you like Burn After Reading?"
Yeah, it's good.
A lot of people don't like that movie, and I don't know why.
I mean, it wasn't great, but it's good.
It's not their best, but it's one of my favorites.
Kind of reminds me of the Men Who Stare at Goats kind of thing. It's just.
Did you not like the Men Who Stare at Goats?
No, I liked it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
it's again, like it's not gonna set the world on fire, but it was enjoyable. Sure. And if you want, you could sit here and pick apart any movie you saw.
Sure, that's true.
You know what I mean? So
now I'm on to Men Who Stare at Goats because George Clooney and Ewan McGregor is such a great team up.
If I have the opportunity to watch a movie with George Clooney and Ewan McGregor, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, there you go.
So.
But yeah, breaking news in Yuba County looks very Fargo-esque. Essentially, I guess what it is her husband, the main character's husband, is probably off like cheating on her, and she destroys her house and then lies and says he's gotten kidnapped, so then the media can come and like make her famous. It's like a more comedic Gone Girl.
I almost said Gone Baby Gone, but that's what I meant was Gone Girl.
Oh yeah,
because Casey Affleck. That's exactly right.
Casey
Affleck's
exactly
right.
In Gone Girl. Ben Affleck
What's
is.
That?
Does he have a cameo in Gone Girl? I swear he's in that movie.
Who, Ben Affleck?
Casey Affleck in Gone Girl.
No, he's in Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah. But
he's the main character in Gone Baby Gone.
I know that, but I'm trying to think.
Ben Affleck directed that movie.
I'm probably.
Can we get off on a tangent and talk about how good Gone Baby Gone was?
Yes, it's such a good movie.
Casey Affleck is awesome in that movie.
How did you feel? Oh, well, I shouldn't. You know what? If you haven't seen, we'll talk about this another day. But if you haven't seen Gone Baby Gone, go watch it, and then one of these days, me and Tank are going to discuss the end of that movie. in a spoiler way, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen that movie. It's so good.
I mean, it's 10 years old.
Yeah, but it's so good. I don't want people to like know what the ending is when they go to watch that movie.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? But we'll have to talk about that later. But yes, breaking news in Yuba County looks like a lot of fun. It looks crazy, by the way. Like the trailer gave me like whiplash because it kept.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a whole lot going
on. I always forget the name of the guy, but the dude from Always Sunny in Westworld, he's like, his brother is the one that they said is kidnapped.
Oh yeah, that guy. He was also in Breakout Kings.
I don't think I saw Breakout Kings.
No, it was a TV show. Yeah, that guy's awesome. He's a good actor. I think he was in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter as well. I think he played Abraham Lincoln.
Oh my God, he's my favorite in Always Sunny.
Oh, he's just that's
the
most uncomfortable. The McPoyles.
The McPoyles. I think Doyles are the Adam Sandler. Doyles rule.
That's O'Doyle, yeah.
O'Doyle's rule. McPoyles, yeah, and he's just like standing there half naked in a robe with like a glass of milk.
Whenever I see those people, it makes me feel nauseous and humid. Like
yeah, I was gonna say it makes you feel sweaty and greasy. They're so gross. Watch Always Sunny. But yeah, so this cast is just chock full of people, and it looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what else this movie does, but the fact that it gives me Fargo vibes is a really good sign, because I love that movie. All right, well, I think that's going to do it with today's trailers. Tank, what do you say we get into some news?
I like it.
Not love it this time, just like it. So our first news story is one that I don't like at all. There's going to be a Willy Wonka prequel film.
I hate it.
I hate it too. Why in the hell would you want to make a Willy Wonka prequel film?
Because they don't have any more ideas.
Apparently not. And they're looking at Tom Holland or I never say his name right, so I'm going to let you do it for me.
Timothy Chalamet.
To play
it sounds like a perfume.
Chalamet by Chalamet. Yeah, they're looking at those two to play a young Willy Wonka, which I'm like,
I thought we covered that in the remake. Did we not?
Oh no, we just saw him as a little baby saying he couldn't have candy from Christopher Lee, and then he makes a candy factory. I don't know.
That's enough. That's all we need. We got it.
Do you like the remake?
What? No.
Do you like the remake? No. Okay, cool. I love the original.
The original is perfect. There's no reason to remake that.
Absolutely not. I love the original so much. However, so here's what I'm saying. People online pointed out why should Tom Holland shouldn't play a young Willy Wonka, because he's playing a young Nathan Drake in the Uncharted movie. So I'm sitting over here saying, no. Just mix the two, and a young Nathan Drake goes in search for treasure, but instead finds a bunch of indigenous people that he forces to work at a chocolate factory.
Oh, genius.
There you go, right? Like,
here's the thing. He's playing a young Nathan Drake, but the reason that he's playing a young Nathan Drake is so that he can continue to play Nathan Drake in the future.
As he gets older, right.
Yeah, he's just Nathan Drake. It's not like we have a bank of Nathan Drake movies and we're like, here we go.
Yeah, who's gonna play him? Middle-aged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not excited for this Wonka idea. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they would think that we want this.
Makes me angry.
Yeah, it makes me angry too. The graphic I saw that somebody did for their news thing actually infuriated me, because they used the same like font and text style as Joker. And I was like, don't do that. Don't make Willy Wonka a Joker-like biopic. Could you imagine like a dark? It's gonna happen. Whatever. That's what we're gonna get. It's probably gonna be super dark and messed up, because that's edgy these days. But speaking of things that we don't like, so Jurassic World 6, Jurassic World 3, whatever it is, Dominion, the next one, the last one, hopefully. Has been said that they're going to make it a culmination of all of the films and kind of a celebration of the series as a whole. So my question for you is, how are they getting themselves out of the hole that they've dug themselves into?
That's a good question.
Because that's what they're trying to do clearly by making this statement. They're going to be like, "Oh, it's going to be like we're celebrating Jurassic Park again, and Jurassic Park 2, and Jurassic Park 3, and Jurassic World, and Jurassic World 2."
Just gonna wake up and it'll be what's his name's dream?
Alan Grant.
Alan Grant.
Alan Grant. He's actually
Alan.
He's yeah, it's just the dinosaur. Alan. Honestly, like, it would be really funny if Jurassic World Dominion ended and it's Alan Grant waking up, like at a dig site, and like somehow like some piece of machinery bonked him on his head, and it's him waking up, and it's him back at like the opening of Jurassic Park. And then the doctor shows up and he's like, "I have a proposition for you." And Alan Grant's like, "No! Never!" That's my idea of what would make a perfect ending and a celebration of all movies.
Or he finds a piece of ember and then he just throws it in the fire.
That'd be kind of cool if he was like he slowly holds it up. I'm already picturing the movie magic moment. He holds it up and then you hear like a faint, and as it gets louder, he just slowly throws it off a cliff. For some reason, he's at a cliff. I don't know.
No, I'm not like you where I want him to not. I want him to just. You know what I'd like to see? I like the direction that the Planet of the Apes stuff took. You know what I mean? Like where you got to watch the battles.
Sure, I like that too. Yeah.
I would like to see dinosaurs running through the cities and stuff like that.
I think that's what we're getting. Because that's essentially what the last one
characters
ended with.
they've given us are garbage. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
yeah, but now they're trying to bring back like Laura Dern, and they're bringing back everybody from the original cast in this next one.
Why can't I think of
Alan Grant's name?
Not Alan Grant. That's Sam Neill. I'm talking about
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. I couldn't think of Jeff Goldblum's name.
Could you not remember
exactly?
Jeff Goldblum.
His name was Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Something.
Not Reynolds. Who's Malcolm Reynolds?
I don't know.
Some guy I went to high school with.
He was Ian Malcolm.
Yes.
Ian
Dr.
Malcolm.
Ian
Malcolm in that movie. So like
life.
That's cool and all
finds
that.
A way.
I just want to see him stretched out on the table with a shirt unbuttoned. It's one of those things where like I like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I do too.
I like Bryce Dallas Howard.
I like her as a director now more.
But I don't like them in these movies.
No, me neither. Not really. I liked Chris Pratt in Jurassic World 1, arguably. I think he was the best part of that movie.
Okay, I'll give you that. Like as a dinosaur wrangler, sure.
I thought that was interesting.
The rest of it was just kind of like
the movie's not. It's not fantastic.
So like the rest of it, but I would be.
I learned the dumbest. Here's time for one of Steven's fun facts. I learned the dumbest thing about Jurassic World, and it's that in that movie, Jimmy Buffett has a cameo.
Really?
Yeah. They mentioned that there's like Margaritaville in the park, which like that makes sense. I mean, there's Margaritaville at like Universal Studios, sure. But in the scene where all the pterodactyls are coming down and like picking people off, which is a really messed up scene because like the babysitter gets thrown into the giant. It's really effed up. I always remember being like, that poor woman.
Yeah, it was all comic. It was all comic. You know what I mean? Like, there goes the babysitter getting murdered.
Yeah, it was really messed up. I hated that. But in that scene where all the pterodactyls are coming down, you can see there's a shot of a man grabbing 2 margaritas in his hand, like running away, and it's Jimmy Buffett. And I'm like, why the hell is Jimmy Buffett in this horrible Jurassic World movie?
I mean,
maybe. But anyways, Dominion seems like it's going to be a movie that is going to give you exactly what you would like to see, but the problem is it's with the characters that we don't want to see.
I mean, yeah, like, but if they make it work, it's fine. I'm not counting down the days. I'll tell you that.
No, me neither. I remember watching the second one. I don't remember what. Do you remember what the second one's name was?
Yeah, it was Jurassic World, human trafficking, but dinosaurs. Is what it was called.
That sounds about right. Human trafficking, but dinosaurs. They even had like the fancy like stage and everything that you saw from Taken, but like it was like
it was Taken. It's exactly what it was. Taken. Dinosaur
edition. Oh my God.
Jurassic World. Taken 4.
Taken 4. Did Taken 4 happen? I can't
No,
remember.
they got to 3.
Okay, cool. Oh, they made a TV show though,
and it was bad.
It was bad. But yeah, so that's what Dominion's going to be. I'm not super excited for it, but I watched the second one on a whim because it was on HBO, and I don't think I've ever really said this after watching a movie to completion, but I was just like, that was a 2 hours and 30 minutes I'm never getting back.
I watched it and said, wow, that was dumb. I mean, because like 4 seconds into the movie, I was like, oh, that girl's a clone. You know what I mean? Like that's. I mean, like it was like, oh,
spoiler.
So she's a clone. What you're telling me is that she's a clone.
Here's what I'm telling the audience in case you hadn't seen that movie yet. Don't. So we just saved you the trouble.
She's a clone.
She's a clone.
Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard have all the sexual chemistry of a porcupine and a pear. So
and some dinosaurs, I'm gonna say 3 get out and escape, and it wasn't 3. It was a good amount. But suddenly the world's gonna be populated with dinosaurs in the next movie. That's
and since it was in San Francisco, one of the dinosaurs got into Stanford and is working on its thesis. So
I remember people going like, it's a really good thing Jurassic World 2 wasn't just Jurassic Park 2. You know how they did that with the first one, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World were essentially the same movie. It's a good thing that didn't happen with Jurassic World. And I'm like, dinosaurs escaped and got into like the city, like into human society. That happened in Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah, I heard that they're doing Jurassic Sarah Jessica Parker.
All
and it's going to be called Rex in the City.
Oh, that setup was so bad, but the payoff was so good. All right. So we got like 2 Marvel news things before we break into our WandaVision talk. So Matt Damon has been cast in Thor and Love and Thunder.
Remember he played Loki?
Yes.
In the play?
So what the hell is he doing now?
I mean, maybe that character was somebody we didn't realize it was somebody that we knew.
An actual character from the MCU comics or something? That's a good point. I read somewhere, somebody had a theory that in Thor Ragnarok, it was actually Matt Damon who was stolen by Loki to play himself. Which is a great idea, but also I'm like, so does that mean he's Matt Damon and he's just playing Matt Damon in Thor Love and Thunder?
That would be kind of amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
He's officially a part of the Asgardians.
I would really like that. Matt Damon.
But I'm also just like, my argument is he's Matt Damon, so you got to make him somebody. You got to make him a hero.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like at least. I mean, we know Christian Bale's going to be the villain of the movie.
That's dope.
That's super exciting. That was a weird voice thing I just did there. But that's super exciting.
Super exciting.
That was mean. But yeah, so you'd like him to be like an actual character from the comics?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's got to be, right? Like,
that's what I would hope
or maybe we're supposed to just forget about that.
That's my real fear, because the MCU is pretty good with continuity, and I would really hate it if they're just like, yeah, forget Matt Damon had a cameo in the last movie. I would really hate that.
Yeah, maybe they'll put him in an outfit though, or something, and he won't look like Matt Damon.
Oh, like he's a CGI character or something?
Not a CGI character per se, but like maybe some prosthetics or something like that.
Okay, that would be fine. I would be fine.
Kind of like a Yondu type of situation.
Sure, I could get by that.
Yeah.
And our last quick Marvel news is essentially it's a confirmation. Charlie Cox has finished filming for Spider-Man 3, which means Daredevil's in Spider-Man 3.
That's awesome. It's very, very awesome.
I am so excited for this Spider-Man 3 movie, and I don't even remember when we're getting it.
It's going to be a long time.
It really is. And honestly, I think it's going to be the craziest nonsense that the MCU has ever given us, apart from probably Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I think they're gonna. I think because we're gonna have a lot of things we have to learn in the meantime through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So by the time we get to this, our whole perception of the Marvel Universe might be changed.
No, I completely agree. It definitely is gonna feel a little wacky, but I'm excited to see everything. All these characters that have been cast and teased, and
I think you were onto something when you said that Daredevil's gonna just be his attorney. I think there might be something to that.
I think that's how it's gonna
I think it's more likely that I think more likely we'll see Matt Murdock than we will to see Daredevil.
Yeah, I'm not imagining that we're gonna see a lot of Daredevil. Also, the movie's like this is essentially Avengers level. Remember when like Infinity War was announced and they were like, oh yeah, we have all these characters, the Guardians of the Galaxy, blah, blah, blah. And everybody was like, how are each of these people going to get screen time? Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same deal. And I can't imagine they're going to dedicate a lot of time to Daredevil.
Right, exactly.
But him showing up as Matt Murdock will make everybody in the theater who knows Daredevil and the Netflix show freak out. And I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for that moment.
I like a good freak out.
Yep. All right, so I think that's going to do it for our news. Let's break into our recommendations because after that, we're going to be talking about WandaVision.
WandaVision. Hold my eyes for this WandaVision. Sorry.
What's your recommendation, Tank?
I have two today. They're both real quick. Not too much to say about them. Berry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
Okay.
It is a kung fu flick from the 1980s.
Oh, perfect.
Set in New York, and it's kind of blaxploitation a little bit.
Oh.
But it's not because because Berry Gordy, the African American community, put it together, so it's awesome. Like it has like an amazing soundtrack. It's super duper 80s. Great karate. The first ever time we get to see Ernie Reyes Jr., I believe, ever.
Wow.
So that's amazing.
That's
interesting. Bruce Leroy is the main character's name, and it is just fantastic. It's a classic.
Awesome.
Shonuff is the villain. I love it.
Okay, so I guess before you give your second one, I'll give mine because it kind of relates. Mine is a movie sort of that the other night we were gaming and I referenced this and I said, hey, have you ever seen Kung Fury, Tank? And you said no. And then I think it was me and my buddy Martin both were like, oh, you have to see this. It's essentially, it's making fun of 80s movies, but in the best way possible. And it's all on YouTube. It's like a 45-minute video, essentially. But
can I tell you that your Kung Fury, when you guys were talking about Kung Fury, is what made me pick Berry Gordy's The Last? Yeah.
Oh my God. So Kung Fury is essentially like Hitler time travels into the 1980s as the villain. And the main character's name is Kung Fury, and he's just some like random white dude with a sweatband, and he can just do kung fu. And one of my favorite characters, there's a part where he's like, I have to go back to the past, and he's like, I need to get help from the only man who can help me, Hacker Man. And it's just some dude with like a keyboard strapped to his wrist, and he's like, Hacker Man. It's so ridiculous, and it's so good. My favorite line, and it's the one that I referenced the other night, there's a moment where Hitler calls the police, and he goes, hello, is this the police? And then they're like, yes, who is this? And then he shoots a gun into the phone, and the bullets come out on the other side. So the phone's just bouncing shit. Dude, it's so ridiculous. You're going to love every second of it. It's so good.
Sounds
please give me your second recommendation.
It's just a quick little, if you're like looking for something to watch and unwind, it's called Blown Away. It's a game show, Canadian glass blowing game show.
That sounds
It's on
incredible.
It's dude. I watched the first season, and the second season came out today on Netflix.
Really?
It's there's just something so soothing about watching glass being worked. It is like, I mean, it's a game show and there's tense moments,
right.
and they're working on stuff and stuff breaks, but in between all that, it's the most like calming TV show I think I've ever watched.
Well, then I'll do a second recommendation to match your energy, and I'm gonna say Bob Ross, also on Netflix, also calming and just nice to watch.
That's a vibe check right there, bro.
That's
I like
true
that.
Vibe check, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start talking about WandaVision episode 3. If you have not seen it, please go watch it, because we're probably gonna be talking about spoilers. Any generic opinions, Tank, about it?
I gotta tell you, this sunk the hooks deeper into me.
Yes, me too. So I think both of us enjoyed it greatly. So now we're gonna start talking about spoilers. So be gone, and then come back and watch us. All right, spoilers starting now. Tank, what'd you think of the?
I'm absolutely impressed with the amount of storytelling and complete storytelling that they're able to get into 26 minutes. Number one,
yeah, totally.
or 32, or whatever it ends up being.
Right.
Because with that amount of time and the amount of information they have to give you, it could go really bad.
Sure. Like the pacing could feel all off.
Yes,
totally.
But they do a great job. I loved the 70s vibe from this episode.
Me too. Well,
I thought they nailed that.
Did it feel like, so in the first episode they were doing I Love Lucy, in the second episode they were doing Bewitched. Did this feel like Brady Bunch to you?
It had Brady Bunch vibes, but also Partridge Family vibes. You know what I think, dude? I think that it's not so much a show specifically.
Show?
I think it's a decade.
Era. Okay.
I think it's 50s, 60s, 70s.
Right, and I totally got that they're definitely doing that. Like, that's obvious that they're hitting the decades, but for some reason I just felt like they were really trying to, like, the opening theme song
absolutely
totally Brady Bunch, you know?
It was a part. It sounded like the Partridge Family song.
Really?
Yeah. And the graphics, the way the graphics work. Now the house was strictly Brady.
Yes, totally.
The banisters and things like that. That was Brady's style. And even some of the what I love is taking the characters that we've known as action stars,
right,
and turning them into sitcom, like, well done parodies of sitcoms from a time frame.
Yes, because it oddly, like, works well. Just even, like, the first episode with the whole, like, my wife and her flying saucers, my husband and his indestructible head. Like, that's so, like, on the nose to be humorous sitcom, And then this episode, it was doing the exact same thing where, they were just making jokes about, what was it? Where, don't worry, the father always gets pretty nervous when the baby's on the way, and he's like, well, lucky for me, I have nerves of steel. That was honestly, like, they know what they're writing. They know how to do it.
Absolutely. And I think what it really does, aside from is entertaining, but it also really gives me hopes for the way that they're doing the other Marvel properties in other shows, like the way that Loki looks like a crime thriller, and the way that Falcon and the Winter Soldier look. So the fact that they're able to make this a sitcom thing work means that somebody had this idea and they wanted it to be wanted to combine their love of sitcoms and the love for whatever's going on. Now, we did get to see in this episode starting to see the cracks of whatever facade that they've got going on, in a couple of different ways. Number one, when the neighbor cuts through the wall with the prune herb. So like, that. So what we're trying to figure out is who's who right now.
Right.
Why they're in where they are, what they're doing there, and who the people are. It's giving me heavy Westworld vibes with some of the characters. Now, I can't remember the name of the lady that helped deliver the baby. I want to say Geraldine. Is that right?
Geraldine. That's right.
Who I think she's Mia Rambeau's daughter.
Yes, that's
what I think you told me that.
I told you that last week, where I believe that's what people were saying, that she's the little girl from Captain Marvel, all grown up now.
And she's a real person, whereas
Yes.
maybe everybody else in there isn't real people, or they're some kind of agents.
However, I will say, it's Catherine Hahn, right?
Yes.
Catherine Hahn. People are predicting, and they've kind of put together that she is actually playing a supervillain from the Scarlet Witch comics.
Really?
Yes, there's like this. I'm trying to remember the name of the actual character from the comics, but essentially she is this super powerful witch who fights Scarlet Witch all the time, like with magic. And in the future Halloween episode that we're going to get to at some point, she's even dressed up like a stereotypical witch. And, you know, she's got these cats or something in the comics, and she's got a brooch that she wears in every single episode with the cats on them. So people have pointed out, like, so she's one of the supervillains for Scarlet Witch. So does that mean she's going to be a bad guy? So her character is very interesting too, especially because the way she talked to Herb at the end of the episode, kind of being like, can't say anything, kind of shows that she might, like how you said, she might be kind of an agent on the inside.
Right.
But also she could be trapped in there too. You know what I mean?
Well, it now, and this is just my theory because
Sure.
just what I'm taking it from. So it looks like maybe that place that they're keeping them is somehow containing Scarlet Witch's power.
Yeah, like probably
keeping
like
it trapped.
Yes.
But I believe that Scarlet Witch has the power to decide who comes and goes in that, because I believe that she threw Geraldine out.
Oh, totally. She absolutely threw her out. She is the reason why anytime that Vision starts breaking down the facade, it like reverses, which is super interesting, by the way, because
yeah, that was a great scene. That, by the way,
because it looked like a glitch, you know,
yes.
Like before in last week's episode, it was like reversing time, but this literally looked like your TV messed up, which I really liked.
I thought it did.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like, first off, I just have so many questions, and I'm really excited for them to be answered. Like, Vision, he's dead. So, if they are in this little, like, containment, is he just a figment or a fake that Scarlet Witch is believing is there to talk to and try to cope with her entrapment? You know what I mean?
Well, or maybe she's trying to create. I think it might be a situation where she's created a world for herself that's her perfect world, because she's either in some kind of trap and some sort of prison or something like that.
So you're saying it might be she's created this world, and because it's getting out of hand, her power, these sword people, which, by the way, there's literally the name of their thing is Sword, because it's supposed to be the sword of the shield kind of deal. So the prediction would be like Sword is keeping her locked in there into her own little world before she like breaks the rest of reality.
It could be for a myriad of reasons. She could be like in a coma and her powers are getting out of control, and like in the show she can't control it.
Yeah, while she was giving birth, and all of a sudden, like, you know, that was very well done, by the way, with the whole, like, you know, the rain coming in. I think my water broke, and then the pictures moving around like crazy because she's having contractions. I thought that was very, very clever and fun.
And again, I think you're gonna get to a point where something that you've seen in the show is going to echo in reality.
Yes, I agree.
You know, and you take off the skin of whatever was in the show, and it'll be.
We'll see how it was affecting things in real life. Kind of like how in the first episode you were predicting that she was the one choking the dude,
right?
Because he was asking too many questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. And who I'm trying to Kat Dennings. She's cast in the show, so people predict that she's working with Sword, and I have a very high expectations that in the next episode it will open with them. Maybe not open with them, but at some point we will see them running to Geraldine, who just got thrown out, kind of leaving off or picking up where we left off in this episode. And Kat Denning is going to be a part of the group, so that'll be interesting. I don't know, man. I'm super excited to see what comes next. This episode was super well done. When they switched to the real world, I'm sure you noticed this, that when they switched to the real world, when Geraldine got thrown out, the aspect ratio got wider.
I didn't notice it, but that's interesting.
It's so cool because it's like we're watching it like this, and then the real world it's like that. It's just so awesome.
It's really great attention to detail.
Yes, especially it really feels like not only it's it's obviously the next step in Phase 4 and the MCU, but also it feels like a true celebration of classic television, and seeing where it's come. I promise you, in years and years and years down the line, professors at some school are going to reference WandaVision episodes to show how like they got the time frame right, and let's see how TV evolved just like the show did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just so interesting to me. It really shows how much time and effort they're putting into their craft into making this show, and I really appreciate it.
And it definitely comes through for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, they've really done a great job of not only putting the show together but making it interesting. And I wasn't that into it at first.
When we were talking about Phase 4 from the start, I said WandaVision is one of my most excited things, and you said, I'm not excited for that.
I thought it was just going to be an excuse to make some dumb sitcom jokes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I wasn't sure it was going to be good, but so far, each episode has pulled me in deeper. So I'm in, and I got all these theories, and I really like it.
Believe me, when we were doing Mandalorian, it was easy because I was like, well, I know we're both going to enjoy the Mandalorian no matter what they do, so that's easy. When it came to WandaVision, and I told you, hey, let's do WandaVision like how we did Mandalorian and do each episode on the podcast, I legitimately was like, boy, if these two first episodes are bad, oh, this is gonna suck. Because I'd want to keep up with it, but if you're having a bad time. But I'm thankful that that's not the case this time.
I think if this is any kind of denotation of what's to come, I'm very excited about Phase 4.
Yeah, me too, honestly. And with everything that we've heard about Spider-Man 3 and the amount of trailers that I've seen for the Black Widow movie, I am legitimately excited for that film. So Phase 4 has got me pretty much pulled in. And I know you're not into the title Love and Thunder, but Thor: Love and Thunder is going to be fun because Taika Waititi's at the wheel.
It's such a dumb name.
I love the name. I don't know, like they're clearly going for like the fun, whatever. All right. But anything else to say about WandaVision episode 3, Tank?
No, I got nothing else. I was really impressed and really stoked to see what happens next.
I was gonna say, do you have any like big predictions or?
Next week will be the 80s, so we'll do probably like some step by step, some Full House, some stuff like that. I don't know, like 90s maybe. Just the 8 is enough, maybe some stuff like that.
Sure.
I think this will probably be the Halloween episode, just because of the way it looked in the previews.
Really, I thought the Halloween episode looked really good, like visually.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
So you think like the 80s is gonna be the Halloween episode, or do you think?
I think. Oh, you mean you thought? I feel like 80s.
Interesting.
Kind of an homage maybe to Stranger Things.
Could be like well, 80s gave us some of the best like horror and stuff like that, so I kind of get that if that was the case. But yeah, I'm so ready to see what happens next.
I just want to watch them all and get it over with. You know what I mean?
Me too. I know a lot of people have that, drive and love. They just want to see it all now, and I totally understand that want. But you know what? It keeps us coming back every week.
I suppose it does.
And you know what? We only have 6 episodes left. Isn't that weird to say out loud?
It is weird.
Yep. That's
so 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. I guess a lot of it afterwards is just going to take place in more like modern era. And then
yeah, I mean, like maybe after we know what's going on, they'll be
maybe they're going to start dropping the facade and every episode's going to focus a lot more on like
her
trying to get out. Because the fact that we have 6 episodes left and we're already done with the 70s, I'm like, all right, we're moving along.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's gonna do it. I said all right so loud. That's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching on our YouTube, No Talking During the Movies. Check us out on Instagram. We have a page there called No Talking During the Movies as well. But I think that's going to do it for today. Tank, how are you feeling?
Feeling real good, sir. Feeling real good.
Awesome. Well, all right. Once again, I am your host, Stephen Austin.
And I am Tank. Love you.
And I love you too. And we'll see you next time for WandaVision, 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 what?